You spend hours of studying, but by the tomorrow, nearly 70% of what you studied it is gone. That's frustrating, right? But here's the surprising part. It's not your fault. Your brain is wired to forget. It clears out unused information the same way your phone clears cache files. Now, here's where it gets interesting. In Japan, students memorize over 2,000 kanji characters, and they retain them for life. Imagine remembering thousands of complex symbols that look like art and never forgetting them. So what's their secret? It's not about working harder, cramming more hours, or drinking more coffee. It's about how you learn. And in this video, I'm going to show you the 5 Japanese study methods backed by neuroscience that will help you remember more in less time. These methods are so powerful, and you'll start to wonder, why didn't my teachers ever tell me this? So, before we dive into the Japanese study methods, let me ask you something. How many times have you stayed up late before an exam and highlighting page after the page, and then the next morning you go completely blank? It feels like a betrayal because you worked so hard, but your brain just wiped everything out. This happens because of something called the forgetting curve, discovered by a German psychologist named Hermann Ebbinghaus. He found that our brains are naturally wired to forget. In fact, within just 24 hours of learning something, you lose up to 70% of it. By the third day, you're left with only bits and pieces. And by the end of a week, almost everything you studied has disappeared. But here's the twist. Your brain isn't broken. It's actually trying to help you. Think of it like Snapchat memories. If you don't save them, they disappear. Your brain does the same. It deletes what it thinks you don't need. So the question is, how do Japanese students beat the forgetting curve? Because they don't study harder, they study smarter. Now I'm going to reveal the 5 Japanese learning hacks. Number 1, active recall, the samurai approach to memory. Here's the mistake most students make. They spend hours of inputting information, like reading a textbooks, highlighting paragraphs, and watching endless videos. But here's the problem. Memory doesn't grow from input. It grows from output. Think about it. If a samurai only read about sword fighting, but never practiced, would he survive in battle? Of course not. He'd be cut down instantly. And learning also works the same way. Every time you force your brain to retrieve information, you're actually strengthening those mental pathways. It's like weightlifting. The more resistance you give your muscles, the stronger they get. The same happens with your memory. The harder you work to recall something, the stronger it becomes. Here's how to do it. Close your book and grab a blank sheet of paper. Then write down everything you remember about the topic. Then check what you missed and try again. At first, it feels frustrating. You'll think, I can't remember anything. But that struggle is actually the magic. Your brain grows the most in those hard moments of effort. That's why the Western students cram at the last minute, while the Japanese students cultivate knowledge steadily, like warriors sharpening their blades every day. Number 2, the Kumon method. Small steps, big wins. In Japan, millions of kids grow up with something called the Kumon method. It's not about genius. It's about taking small and consistent steps every day. Instead of throwing giant textbooks at students, Kumon breaks learning into bite-sized tasks. They take it one worksheet at a time and one step at a time without getting overwhelmed. Why does this work? Because our brains love progress. Each small win releases dopamine, the motivation chemical. And over the time, these tiny steps build unstoppable momentum. Author James Clear says the same in his book Atomic Habits. 1% better each day leads to massive results. Think about it. If you improve just 1% a day, by the end of the year, you'll be 37 times better than when you started. So next time you study, don't try to finish 200 pages in a single night. Instead, break it down into small steps. Spend 15 minutes fully focused on one task and celebrate that small win, and then repeat the process every day, because Japanese kids become masters not by cramming, but by stacking these small wins consistently every day. Number 3, spaced repetition, the gardener's technique. Imagine like you plant a seed. Do you pour an entire bucket of water once and expect it to grow? Of course not. But if you water it regularly and just enough at the right times, it will grow strong. That's exactly how your memory works. The trick is called spaced repetition. Instead of reviewing everything at once, you review at specific intervals, just before your brain forgets. Here's the cycle. Review after 24 hours, then after 3 days, then after 1 week, then after 1 month. Each review strengthens your memory. Just like watering a plant regularly helps its roots grow deep and strong. In Japanese students, never wait until the last night to cram for an exam. Instead, they follow a cycle of regular reviews, making sure the knowledge stays fresh and deeply rooted in their minds for years to come. Number 4. Kaizen, 1% daily growth. Kaizen is a Japanese philosophy that means continuous improvement, getting just a little better every single day. It started in factories after World War II to help workers improve processes step by step, but today it's used everywhere, in schools to help students learn, in companies to improve productivity, and even in personal life to build better habits and grow steadily over time. The idea is simple. Instead of big leaps, focus on tiny, consistent steps. Even a 1% improvement every day adds up to incredible results. 1.01 raised to 365 equals 37.8. That's 37 times better in a year. Now here's how students use it. Spend 2 minutes on active recall, and 2 minutes on spaced repetition, and 2 minutes on focused practice. That's only 6 minutes a day, but in a month, you'll be 30% better. No stress and no burnout, just steady mastery. Number 5. Shu, the art of deep focus. Learning isn't just about technique, it's about mindset. In Japan, students practice something called Shu, a state of deep focus where they become one with the task. It's like entering a flow state. Japanese students use simple rituals to train their brains for focus. It could be a tea ceremony, lighting a candle, or setting up a dedicated study space. These small actions send a signal to the brain. It's time to concentrate, to focus fully, and to take learning seriously. And you can do the same. Create a dedicated study space and remove the distractions, and use the same pen or light a candle before studying. Over the time, your brain learns. When this ritual starts, it's time to go deep. That's why Japanese students aren't just studying, they're training focus like monks. Finally, let's make this practical. Imagine you're preparing for a math exam. Instead of cramming, break it down like this. On day 1, solve problems, and then recall the solutions from memory. On day 2, review your mistakes and repeat the process. On day 3, do spaced repetition practice. And during the first week, keep your sessions short and consistent, using small Kumon-style steps every day. By the exam, the knowledge isn't just in your short-term memory. It's locked in long-term. Here's another example, language learning. Start with active recall by testing yourself on vocabulary. Use spaced repetition to review words daily with Anki, and apply Kaizen by learning just 5 new words each day. Practice Shu by dedicating a distraction-free 20 minutes to focused study. Do this consistently, and within 6 months, you'll know hundreds of words and remember them for life. So here's the truth. Learning isn't about talent, or it's not about working 12 hours a day. It's about method. But Western schools train students to cram, memorize, and forget. But Japanese methods train students to master, retain, and grow for life. That's why the top 1% seem different. They're not smarter. They just use different strategies. The difference between average and extraordinary isn't luck. It's a method. So here's your choice. You can go back to the old ways, highlighting, rereading, and then forgetting everything the next day. Or you can start using these 5 Japanese methods today. The top 1% won't just watch this and move on. They'll take action. The question is, will you? Try one of these hacks today and tell me in the comments which one worked best for you. And if you want more science-backed tips to study smarter, improve focus, and grow 1% every day, hit that subscribe button. Because success isn't built overnight. It's built daily, one small step at a time. That's the Japanese way. And now it can be your way.